Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the podcast. Today, I want to take you to a deep and controversial topic: the impact of globalization on India and its relationship with Maoism. We will talk about Chapter 6 of The Dark Side of Globalization, which is titled Maoism in a Globalized India. We will explore how globalization has influenced the expansion of resistance movements and why Maoism remains a relevant force in some regions of India.
But what is the Maoism in India and where do it come from? To begin with, it is essential to understand what Maoism stands for India. It is often perceived as a radical and violent movement. But behind that simplistic image lies a history of struggle and frustration. Maoism, inspired by the ideas of Mao Zedong, found fertile grounds in India during the 1916s and 1970s, especially in marginalized rural areas. Why? Because while cities like Mumbai and Bangalore began to flourish with the rise of globalization and economic reforms in the 1990s, millions of people in rural areas remained slaves in extreme poverty, without access to basic service of resource.
Now, let's talk about how globalization has played a crucial role in fueling this movement. On the one hand, India has experienced impressive economic growth thanks to the liberalization of its market. Cities have become world renowned technological and financial hubs. But what about rural regions? For many communities in the states of Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and Odisha, globalization has meant more disadvantages than benefits, like forced displacement, loss of agriculture, land, and labor exploitation in the name of development. These situations have provided the breeding ground for memes to resonate as a call to resistance and to protect the rights of the most vulnerable.
It's interesting to see how the government has responded to this challenge. The chapter analyzes how state action have been predominantly military, with operations aimed at dismantling Maoist groups, but realizes the problem. When a movement fueled by social injustice is conveyed to solely with force, so there is a risk of perpetuating a cycle of violence. The affected communities, instead of feeling protected, often find themselves caught between crossfire and poverty, which only fuels further discontent. This approach also reflects a disconnect between urban policies and rural needs.
Final thoughts and the paradox of globalization. So, what can we learn from this chapter? Globalization, with all its promises of development and modernity, also has a dark side that needs to be recognized. Maoism in India is not just a trace of an ancient communist movement, but a modern response to the inequalities that globalization has not been able to resolve. The real question is how to balance economic growth with a real inclusion of all sectors of society. And here I leave you with this reflection. If globalization is not capable of closing inequality gaps, are we really moving forward as a global society? Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope this conversation has left you thinking, and we look forward to your comments and opinions. See you next time.